Vanessa Sullivan's death was a terrible tragedy, but it was not murder. It was an accident. On the night of Vanessa Sullivan's 21st birthday, she went out to celebrate with her two friends. They went to a local bar to see her favorite band play. They celebrated her birthday and had a few drinks. And at the end of the night, when it got late, they walked out of the bar into the parking lot, and they got into the car with Miss Dawson in the driver's seat. When Miss Dawson pulled out of the parking lot, it started to rain. And by the time she got to Canyon Road, it started to pour. But Miss Dawson was focused. She was focused on the road, and she was in control. Canyon Road was pitch black and unlit. It was raining, and the road was slippery. The rain just kept coming down and pounding on the car. And just as Miss Dawson reached the sharp curve in Canyon Road, she saw a deer ahead of her. She was forced to make a split-second decision. So she swerved off the road and onto the shoulder, where she maintained control of the car for 124 feet, fighting with the wheel. And just as Miss Dawson tried to re-enter the road, the car lost traction and spun out from underneath her and into a tree. Now, the prosecution has told you that Miss Dawson was reckless. And at the end of today's case, you'll find that that's just not true. Miss Dawson's going to take the stand today. She's going to tell you that she knew there was a possibility that she would be driving that night. So she drank responsibly, watched her limits, and kept her drinking to 1 drink per hour. And she'll tell you that at the end of the night, she knew she was okay to drive. Now today, you're going to hear from Miss Dawson's friend that was with her that night. She's going to tell you about the conditions and dangers of the road that night. She's going to tell you how hard it was raining and how hard it was to see. And she's also going to tell you that while she was with Miss Dawson at the bar that night, she wasn't with her the whole time, and that she doesn't know what she was doing throughout the entire night, and that she doesn't know what she had to drink that night. Now, you're also going to hear about the conditions and dangers of the road from an expert in accident reconstruction. And she's going to tell you about the tree that Miss Dawson hit and how close to the road it was. It was 2 feet from the road. She's also going to tell you that there wasn't a sufficient guardrail to protect Miss Dawson's car from hitting that tree. Now, the prosecution in today's case has the burden of proof. And they must prove to you that Miss Dawson manifested an extreme indifference to human life, and that she disregarded a substantial and unjustifiable risk. And in order to do that, they must prove to you that Miss Dawson was intoxicated. They must prove these things to you beyond a reasonable doubt. Now today you're going to hear from the officer that gave Miss Dawson her field sobriety tests and a breath alcohol expert. And they're both going to provide you with reasonable doubt that Miss Dawson was intoxicated. Our breath alcohol expert is going to tell you that the test performed on Miss Dawson was inaccurate, and that because of the errors with that test, the results of Miss Dawson's test are probably wrong. Now, the officer that gave Miss Dawson her field sobriety tests is going to tell you that the entire time Miss Dawson was taking her tests, she was being yelled at by the district attorney of Midlands, and that she was forced to take her tests on the wet and slippery road, where the officer himself could barely stand. Now, at the end of today's trial, after you've heard all of the facts and evidence, you will know that Miss Dawson never meant to hurt anyone. Now, the prosecution told you that actions have consequences. Miss Dawson knew that. And at the end of today's trial, you'll know that Miss Dawson chose what she believed to be the safest option that night when she was driving. And at the end of today's trial, the evidence will show you that this was an accident. It was